Bedroom Confessional with Jacob and Kimberly Reeve.
So I feel like it's appropriate for it to be an introduction into who we are and what this is all about and why we started this podcast. And it's something that we've talked about for probably close to a year, and we started to create it a while ago and then just kind of dropped the ball with other things going on. But I feel like it's a really important topic and one that isn't being addressed. And so we want to just launch into that. And we are here in our bedroom and we're here bringing you into our date night. And date nights are really important to us. And basically what this podcast is, what we are hoping it to be, is a podcast for monogamous couples and even monogamous couples who are religious or Christian, or because they have that background, that it's important to be monogamous because of your relationship with God, with your Creator. And that's part of our relationship. And so,
or just that it's monogamous because you want it to be monogamous.
Right.
You're not comfortable
but
with
a monogamous relationship is a unique relationship, and it is often because of religious beliefs. And so we want to bring conversation into the bedroom, basically, on monogamous relationships. And that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, there's we've been doing marriage counseling for people for over 20 years, off and on. And for the last three years or so, I've been doing that full time. And especially with Christians, there's a real, it seems like there's a lot of pain around intimacy and there's a lot of, there's a huge lack of communication around intimacy. There's a lot of secrecy. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of guilt. There's all these different things. And one of our perspectives, a perspective that I tell people over and over again, is the healthiest thing to do is to talk about it. And so that's one of our first breakthroughs in, we have a course, and one of the very first breakthroughs is, learning to talk about sex without any shame. Mm-hmm. Just learning to talk about it, because that's a huge breakthrough. As soon as we started really asking each other those questions, real private questions about, what turns you on, what do you like, what do you not like, and all of those sorts of things. That's what is the first big step in really bringing us into a huge step forward in our enjoyment.
Right. So a little background on us, since this is an introduction. We have been married for 29 years, and we got married a year after we decided our relationship was official. So we've been together for 30 years now. We waited to have sex with each other until we were married. So as our wedding night.
We did other things though.
Yes.
A little bit, but nothing.
We didn't cross the line.
I don't think we orgasmed with each other.
I don't know.
I don't remember if we did or not, but I don't think we did. I don't think we did until we were married.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
But we didn't have
But we fooled
sex.
around a little bit.
Yeah, we did mess around. And that's why we were only engaged for 4 months.
Yeah, that's why most Christians are only engaged for 4 months.
But we did wait, and then the wedding night was interesting because, you know,
it
it wasn't spectacular. We'll just say that.
yeah. We waited for that. But what's really cool is that we believe that we're in a covenant, which is a forever type of relationship. And what's awesome about covenants is that, because you have the mindset that this is forever, you start to invest in the future. At least after a while, we're like, hey, this is whatever we want it to be. So why don't we make it the most amazing thing it can be?
Right.
And then we really started to invest.
Well, one of the things that we envisioned about our relationship was that it was kind of like a garden, and what you do with a garden when you get a garden, it's not already producing, right? And so our relationship, we kind of pictured it like a garden where it was something that we had to sow into.
If we planted the right things now and tended to them in years to come, they would produce good fruit.
Right. And that was a visual that we had in kind of towards the beginning of our relationship. And it really did take years. It took years of tending to and really tending to produce the fruit that we hoped that it would.
Yeah, I think for the last 5 or so years, our sex life has been off the charts, I would say. Just like way better than it ever has been.
Right. So with that being said, this whole podcast, what we want to bring to you is the conversation that for a lot of people might feel, I don't know what the word is.
Impossible.
Well,
or just so uncomfortable.
Right, and maybe what the church isn't talking about or what people are afraid to say. And we want to bring that conversation into the home of monogamous couples, right? So we want to talk about the hard things or the embarrassing things or the things that, I don't know. But they're actually really the things that shape a relationship and your sexual relationship. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about the sexual relationship of monogamous couples and having that discussion. And so, yeah, it is a little bit maybe awkward, but
it's risky for probably some people. A lot of Christians have so much shame around the subject or so much fear around it that they're afraid to talk about it or even hear about it because they feel like maybe they're in sin or something. But honestly, it's not sin if you're in monogamy and
covenant
and in covenant and our number one rule is obey your convictions. And so that's like a safe rule. It's like if there's anything that's beyond your convictions, say, hey, this I feel convicted not to do this. And so to each his own. It's right. Like some people might feel super convicted about whatever. And so don't do that. And then, pray about it. If say, God, is this something that you'd be okay with me experimenting with? And, get a sense for what, your faith says. And seek scripture if that's, what, your approach to it. But one of the things I think that is a problem for a lot of people is whenever you suppress something for someone else and not for yourself, that usually comes back to bite you in the butt. And so if you're interested in something and you just say no to it over and over again, but deep down you really are wanting to do that over and over again, and you never talk to anyone about it and you never bring that up, that can end up coming into a place where, and this is a controversial idea because what I'm saying is, let me finish what I'm saying. There's kind of two views to this. One is suppress for your whole life.
Suppressing.
Suppress
We're talking about sexual in the bedroom of monogamous couples.
Yeah, in the bedroom of monogamous couples.
So like one person
wants to explore, say, role playing or bondage or whatever it is. And the other person's like, whoa, that's too risky.
Or maybe they haven't even told them that they're interested in that.
That maybe they're too afraid.
They're afraid. Yeah.
And yet they're interested in those things. Those are things that if you go on and on and on, here's the problem that I see, having walked through this with couples and seeing couples get divorced and stuff like that over time, is whenever you have especially a healthy curiosity or an interest that is part of genuinely what you want to explore, and you never explore that because you're suppressing it out of fear of others. So your ego is going, I don't want to be myself because I'm afraid of what others might think, instead of just being genuine to yourself and saying, hey guys, and
hey guys.
hey guys, not maybe that's it. I don't know.
I mean, we're talking about monogamy. So
monogamous marriage between
a wife or husband,
a woman and a man, yeah.
or a partner at least.
Yeah, so what happens over time is a lot of times you'll put up with that. You'll put up with the suppression of whatever you're interested in for a long time. But then you hit your 40s and maybe 50s, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to explore what I never explored. And it comes to the point where you're just the projected self that you have, the ego version of yourself, whether it's group ego or individual ego, and the person that you're kind of being for everyone else or pretending to be for everyone else, that person, you a lot of times come to a point in your life where you don't want to put up with that person anymore, and you just want to become your authentic self. And so the problem is that people end up shipwrecking their whole lives when they've been suppressing forever instead of communicating forever. So that's what I want to prevent.
I feel like another thing that happens before the shipwreck, which leads to shipwreck, is like seeking that out in other avenues than your spouse.
Yeah.
Right? Like, or your partner.
Because you have so much shame that you can't bring it to your community. You can't bring it to your spouse. And so you start secretly doing it
that in other places.
And so that's exactly right. And so here's what we always share with couples is one of our goals is 100% honesty between each other. But that's super hard. That's super, super hard. And I would say we're close, but we're probably not all the way there.
Yeah.
And that's healthy. You don't just jump into 100% honesty with each other unless that's something you've really been working toward for a while or put a lot of effort into. And what 100% honesty does is, but before you get to 100% honesty, you have one thing, which is safety.
Right.
You only can be as safe, or you can only be as honest as you feel safe. Because if you don't feel safe, you need to protect yourself at all costs.
Right. Which I want to say something about. So safety comes over time, often with a sexual relationship. And when you're married to somebody, you don't feel 100% safe the day you say, I do. Right? Yeah. It's like...
You have this idea of the safety.
Right. And it's a building of this trust. And one of the beautiful things about marriage and covenant is that you're tied to each other for eternity, basically, right? Forever. And so that safety should grow and grow and grow. And with that safety, your sex life and your freedom with each other and in that arena should grow and grow and grow. Oftentimes it doesn't. But what the world, I feel like, says is that your sex life should shrink and shrink and shrink because you only have one person.
Right.
You're only you only have one, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
but little do they know
right.
that it gets way better.
It gets
the longer
better
you
and
go.
better and better as you're with this person. If you have a healthy relationship, it can grow and grow and grow to something that people who are not in committed relationships could never ever imagine.
Yeah.
And that's what covenant offers.
Right.
And that's something that we've realized over time, over 30 years of being together. We have, which we didn't say in the beginning, we have 6 children. We have 2 grandchildren right now. And that number is hopefully going to grow. But over all these years, it has gone through ebbs and flows and pregnancies and
babies,
postpartum, and all of the things that happen in marriage and family, and stress and new businesses and new endeavors, failures, and all of that. But because we have covenant, we know we have that safety in the covenant. And then in that, and the time and all that has produced something that's really, really beautiful. And that's why we want to have these conversations with you and just bring the conversation to the table about sex, about monogamy, about all the things that you're embarrassed to talk about. Like, is anal sex okay for Christians? Or what about vibrators or dildos? Like, are those things okay? Can you use those? Can you play with them? Can you not? What about role play or what?
A lot of other stuff.
Everything. We want to bring that conversation to the table, and we want to talk to you all about it. And so this is the Bedroom Confessional, and this is our introduction, and we hope that you'll join us and meet us next time.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That's like 15.
That's a perfect.
It's 20
minutes.
minutes.
That's perfect. That's fine.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't have to be extended. Like, that's a pull
that's
in.
Good, yeah, that's good.
Now we could do your other film.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, we talked about anal sex and vibrators and dildos,
So I guess that's done. I was gonna say one more thing.
What?
I was gonna say, for instance, like,
this is so delicious.
We've been married nearly.
This is so delicious.
Been together over 30 years.
This is so delicious.
We have 6 kids.
This is so delicious.
Super busy, so busy.
This is so delicious.
Our busyness is beyond most people say they're busy.
This is so delicious.
Or how much pressure and stress.
This is so delicious. This is so delicious. This is so delicious.
But one of the things that we do,
this is so delicious. This is so delicious.
Create experiences.
This is so delicious.
And we intentionally sow into that. And after 30 years, we've grown, and it's not like a quick thing anymore. It's like a long extended making love. And it's not all just intercourse either. It's so many things. Like, it's become for us it's different every time. It's totally different every time. And I think that that's something that someone that used to be an elder in my life once, he has a great marriage, and he still does. And I asked him what his number one secret to a great marriage was, and he said curiosity. And he said, as soon as you lose curiosity, you lose the romance. And I thought that was brilliant, and I've never forgotten that. I think that what happens in long-term relationships is you can lose curiosity, and then you're no longer interested. As soon as that curiosity is gone, and it's like, oh, it's the same thing every time, that's like an indication of things have gotten worse. And when he said that, my first reaction was, how can I be curious about my wife? I've been married to her for 15 years. It was like 15 years ago. And it took me a long time to realize there's an infinite amount of things to be curious about. And I think that that's what we started to tap into in our bedroom. And we're always finding things to explore, different, and it's not just about sex, it's about emotion and desire and arousal and about all these different things. And it's about, what would you do in this scenario? What would you do in that scenario? What would turn you on the most? This or that, like all these different things, and really becoming honest about so many different things. And that's one of the things I think that really helped us turn a corner in our intimacy, is just the door opening to the infinite possibilities that are out there. And I think for a lot of people, they have never even thought of that. They've never had access to that. And they're just, their sex life is the same. It's like this transaction that happens, whenever it happens, but it hasn't become something really special. And
start with that, because when you started that whole thing, I was like eating pizza, and that's a good thing to mix into our podcast. But the way you started it, I was like eating pizza. So start with that, and then you can.
I don't know if I can do that, but okay. I don't know. I think that's why I was like, why did you just stop them?
Because it was a perfect place to end.
Well, we'll see.
So just start with, like, I think one place where couples get bored with marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people think that.
I was talking about curiosity.
Yeah, people get bored, but think that if they're married first to somebody that they're gonna get bored.
Yeah. So basically, what we were saying is that just because you've been married to someone for 29 years doesn't mean you've run out of things to explore, or things to be curious about. And in fact, there's been seasons where we have been stuck, in certain, there was 2 years where we couldn't have intercourse because she'd get pregnant every time we went near each other. And so for 2 years, we're like, okay, no more kids, no more intercourse. But what did that do?
Well, there are other things too, because I had other problems, and it was painful, and I was
so
with other things that made sex really hard.
Right. So because we were married and I wasn't going to go somewhere else, because we were married, if we weren't married, we weren't in covenant, and I could just sleep around or do whatever else, I could have escaped the process of what it looks like to make love to my wife when she can't have intercourse. But because we're in covenant, I didn't do that. And it took us many, many months to figure out how to make love without intercourse. And that's one of the best gifts that we ever had. for me, I learned how to go way longer. You know, because when we were first married, I could not last more than like a minute or something. It would just be like bam and be over. And but because I think because of that season, I learned to control whenever I want to, and that's the fruit of that season. And I learned it because of, not because I got taught it by someone, but because I learned it from, you know, being together in that season.
And it wasn't all just about the act of intercourse.
Right.
It was about pleasure.
It's about pleasure.
Pleasuring each other.
Yeah. And taking as much time as we needed to. And maybe it doesn't mean, you know, a climax or whatever.
Right.
Even though usually it did.
Well, it usually ended in that.
Yeah.
At least for you.
At least for me. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's a good place to end.
The Bedroom Confessional with Jacob and Kimberly Reeve.